Tutors, welcome back to FNS Wrestling Podcast, and we have episode 66B because Dynamite decided to be on Saturday again. I am hosting this time again, and my co-host is my father, who's right here.
Hello, welcome back.
So there was Rampage, which had, what was it? Pac Andrade 2,
yes.
And then there's also the first match in the Eliminator Tournament. We'll also be getting 2 more matches from said tournament. Which is Bryan Danielson, Dustin Rhodes, and then also Kingston and Archer, and then TBS title tournament match and whatnot. And so this is on Saturday again, very inconvenient for us, obviously.
That's why we're back with a sort of separate episode to talk about it, because
couldn't get around to it on Sunday, so we're doing it today.
Yep, it's Monday. We don't have work or school, so we have time to talk about some AEW Dynamite.
I don't know if it'll be out by the time people listen to this, but you did just record at least Bound for Glory review, right?
It is out everywhere. It's just finishing up on YouTube, but everywhere else it is up.
All right, so that is out, and then you got ROH coming soon, I assume.
Yeah, either tonight or tomorrow. I'll get to ROH 527.
All right, and so I guess we'll get right into it. The opener for the show is Bryan Danielson versus Dustin Rhodes in the first round of the AEW World Title Eliminator Tournament. And Dustin doesn't seem to wrestle a lot. At least he doesn't wrestle like on Dynamite a lot.
No, he doesn't.
So,
but when he does, it's usually
he usually puts in a good effort.
He does considering he's 52 or whatever. Like he really does put out some massive effort.
Right, and I think I can appreciate that when you have
absolutely
Jericho working a lot, but then working super basic, or like Sting and Paul White stinking up the joint, or like
Goldberg coming back and having terrible matches 3 or 4 times a year.
Right, I think I definitely appreciate Dustin for doing that.
That's probably the best comparison, right? Like age-wise and like amount of number of matches they have, and Goldberg's are not very good. But anyways.
Yeah. I thought this was a fun and smartly worked opener. Some notables. There was a lot of holds and counters in the beginning with Bryan getting control and kind of he was applying this leg hold with he repeatedly did like a back bump to the mat to apply pressure. A bow and arrow stretch by Ryan, but they were pretty close to ropes, so Dustin's able to reach out and grab the ropes. Rhodes hits a signature drop down uppercut, but he eventually gets low bridged out of the ring by Bryan and gets hit with a suicide dive from Bryan. Bryan avoids a wrist lock from Rhodes and hits a dropkick to the knee, which is targeted throughout the match. A German suplex by Rhodes, some corner chops by Rhodes. Bryan retaliates with chops of his own. An elbow stomp by Bryan after Rhodes blocks an armbar attempt. We do get to see Tony Nese is in the crowd.
We do. Yeah. They show him a couple times tonight.
Yeah. He wasn't bad, but I could easily see him getting lost in the shuffle here.
I agree, but I mean, part of it is I'm biased just because of the way he was presented in WWE, right? Like maybe a complete fresh start will be better. Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
I don't know. I'm interested in that at least, but I could unfortunately see him getting lost in the shuffle.
Yep, they got a lot of people there.
Right, because there's some acquisitions I could see, like, I just don't see them, like, even if they were to acquire Gargano, who's of similar stature, I feel like Gargano's not the kind of guy who would be, like, wrestling on Dark or something.
Gargano's character work is light years ahead of Nese, right? From what we've seen, so.
So, I mean, I don't know. Nese is good, but I'm just... I hope he gets used in
he's a talented performer, for sure.
A superplex by Dustin Rhodes. Bryan flips over Rhodes, like, the signature thingy-majiggy. Like, the back flips over him. It gets caught by a scoop slam by Rhodes, and curtain call by Rhodes for 2, which is just kind of... It's like a inverted suplex DDT thing and jiggy. It's like he lifts him up for an inverted suplex, but then just slams him back on his back.
Right.
Instead of, like, rotating over. Corner chops and kicks alternating by Bryan. He goes for a Frankenstein, but he gets crotched on the top rope and then clotheslined off by Rhodes for 2, which I thought that was kind of nice.
It was.
Bryan delivers kicks to Rhodes, who he kind of asks for more, and then fights back as a strike exchange breaks out. Bryan does the thing where he holds both of your arms and he just stomps you in the face repeatedly.
Right.
That kind of thing. A pile driver by Rhodes for 2 after avoiding the running knee from Bryan, and Bryan applies a guillotine. And the finish comes with Rhodes. He drops down kind of while the guillotine is still applied, and he eventually passes out. So Bryan gets the win and advances in the tournament, and I think he faces the winner of Kingston Archer.
I think that's right. So I can't tell you how much, I mean, I've tried to already tell you how much I'm enjoying Danielson in AEW, because I've always liked him and acknowledged that he's like a top in-ring competitor, but he's different in AEW. Just the pace he's working, the variety of moves, the stiffness, like there's more physicality and violence to his stuff now. Like he's still a babyface, right? But he's like, there was not a clean rope break here, We've seen him wrap people's legs around ring posts. We've seen him even, like you're saying, hold their arms and stomp their face, right? Like, he's wrestling with more edge.
Well, that's been a move of his for a while since his the eco-friendly heel turn.
Right.
He just kind of kept it, I think.
So he might right now be my favorite person to watch in the ring, and I'm saying that with a love of like Pac and Andrade and stuff like that. But he actually just looks like a highly skilled guy actually trying to win a fight, right? Like, it looks like this is what, if you actually knew a whole bunch of stuff, this is how you would try and win a fight, and with a little extra viciousness. So I thought this was pretty fantastic. Dustin deserves credit as well. Like, I'm talking a lot about Danielson, but Dustin looked really good here, and he's like 52 years old. He just worked a better match than a lot of wrestlers will this year, I think, right? We could probably agree.
Yeah.
Excellent opener and a really hot crowd again, which is another trademark of Dynamite right now. So they pretty much start almost every episode with some great content and a great crowd. So I really like this opener.
Yeah, I thought this was a great opener. Rhodes doesn't seem to wrestle much anymore, but he does put in a good shift when he does, and he makes it count. Unlike Jericho, Paul White, or Sting, as I've mentioned, any of the old farts I don't like.
Right.
Bryan was great in here too, working a technical and realistic style, working away Dustin's leg, and even winning with like a simple guillotine choke, but that's kind of realistic, and because Dustin is older, so I mean, it might wind him quicker.
And Danielson having multiple
brutal.
finishers is cool too, right? Like,
yeah.
He doesn't always have to do the same thing.
I thought it was a solid opener and a good start to this tournament. I mean, this as long as like some of the matches of the tournament are up to this level, then that bodes well.
And in the moment, we also like that they countered each other's signatures, right? I think Bryan countered the drop down like uppercut thing, I think. And then I was gonna call him Gold Dust. Dustin countered. I think it was the running clothesline that Danielson does.
Oh yeah.
I think he countered that. So that like was a nice touch too.
Flurry or whatever.
Right. So yeah, I thought that was a really good like scouting or whatever knowledge of each other's stuff.
Yeah. So next we get the Elite backstage. So it's basically just Omega talking. He mentions the Dark Order will be facing the Elite next week, which sounds more exciting at first until you find out who's representing the Dark Order.
Right.
Omega rips on Hangman while talking about Halloween, saying like Hangman was cosplaying as a cowboy the whole time.
Yes.
He says he knows Paige's insecurities, and he said if people knew him the way like Omega knows him, they wouldn't be chanting his catchphrase. They'd be calling him a coward.
Right. Coward crap instead of cowboy crap.
Yes.
Yes.
What'd you think?
I thought this was really good. He stayed more serious than sometimes, but he still found a way to sort of rip on Paige subtly, kind of. And then he's taking Paige's actual issue, according to storyline, right? And calling it out, showing just like what level he will stoop to, right? As a slimy heel. Like, I know you doubt yourself, and I'm going to prey on that, right? So I think that's right in character with Omega, and I like the tone of this. Even the little shots at the tight jeans and the fancy shirts, right? He still found a way. But the bottom line is he's willing to stoop to any level and like attack this guy's mental health just to sort of win a match, I think, which I like.
Right. Yeah, so I thought it was a solid little promo from Omega. I liked it. He had some good lines, and I'm excited for the multi-man tag next week. And then I found out that one of the members of the Dark Order is Colt Cabana.
Yeah, he's got to get in the rotation, I guess.
I said that it could be better than the previous 8-man tag, but it seems just like I think it's like Silver and a Cabana, and so it's definitely just to get the Elite to win. I was hoping it'd be something like, it'd be like, this is where you put in Grayson, Uno, Reynolds, and Silver for me.
Yeah.
Or like, I was hoping Hangman would be in there, but
sure,
I guess
obviously.
not.
No, not yet.
So,
it does look like it's set up for an Elite win.
Yeah, which, I mean, they could do another one, I guess.
Yep.
Next we get one of those back and forth thingy-majiggies with FTR and the Lucha Bros. Dax says the Lucha Bros make more money than them, and that doesn't sit well with them. He says they are proud to hold the AAA tag titles, but to cement themselves as the best, they need the AEW tag titles. Cash says it's almost been years since they lost the titles, and they sat on the sidelines watching a bunch of children cosplaying as champs.
Ooh.
He says they are the best luchadors in the world, and they have the titles to prove it.
That made me laugh.
Yeah. Penta says, obviously translated through Alex, that FTR hurt his brother, stole their titles last week, and attacked them from behind on Rampage, and if they want to play dirty, they can show them what it's like. Dax says if they think Alex's black eye was bad, he tells them to wait till Full Gear.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm a sucker for the well done back and forth promo, especially when it's a feud that I care about and want to see another match, and that's kind of what I got here, right? I do want to see them wrestle again on a larger stage, I would like, and given more time. So maybe a pay-per-view.
Yeah, that seems what they're setting up.
Yeah, I would hope so. And I really like the line about the guys who go on about no flips, just fists, saying that they're now the greatest luchadors of all time was pretty funny. And
well, I guess luchador is, like, it's
fighter.
Spanish, right?
Right, it's just not the traditional style. But I thought it interesting, Cash did all the speaking here, right, for FTR, which is...
no, I think it was mostly Dax.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I made a mistake
Cash
in my
did
notes.
get a few lines, but I think mostly it was Dax, at least from my notes.
But yeah, I thought this was another good segment setting up a match I want to see.
Yeah, I thought this was pretty good. I liked it quite a bit. Both sides cut good promos. I think it was FTR's. It was definitely better because it was definitely more lengthy. FTR claiming to be the best luchadors in the world is still funny. I also like this because it sets up a genuinely interesting match, even though we kind of just got it. This is a great first title feud for the Lucha Bros because FTR are great opponents. I think so too. The
style contrast is awesome.
Right, it's a good start to the reign. I mean, even though they've had a couple of non-defenses against like Butcher and Blade and the Acclaim, but that's like
placeholder defenses.
Right, I feel like a first real meaningful defense.
Yep, and it's like you've got the peak of the two styles. If you want the high-flying like crazy spots, you've got the Lucha Brothers, and then if it's like your kind of smash mouth classic old school, then it's the FTR, right? So I'd like to see them wrestle anytime.
It's kind of like the Bucks versus FTR from last year, because that was back when the Bucks were still kind of babyface. So.
Yep.
Or that was when they were super kicking like the cameraman or whatever. Remember?
Yes, they were.
It was kind of confusing.
It was.
Next, Sting updates us on Darby Allin. Yay.
Yeah.
Tony Schiavone reminds us of the situation with Darby as he was attacked by those mysterious masked men. I think two of them are really good luchadors or something.
The best ever, I think.
Possibly. And he introduces Sting because it's Sting. Yay. But thankfully, MJF's music cuts off Sting before he can speak.
I thought you would enjoy that.
Yeah, I did enjoy that, actually. It made me very happy. MJF tells the fans to show some class and shut up. MJF calls Sting Darby's emo daddy and asks him how he's doing. I think Darby is doing.
Yep.
He says he just wants to chat and not embarrass Sting from the fans. Well, I think Sting is plenty capable of embarrassing himself. Just let him wrestle.
Wow.
MJF says Sting doesn't want to tell them the truth, which is Darby won't be back, and he can distract them all he wants, but you can't fool MJF. He says Sting is a bad person when people need Sting the most. He's nowhere to be seen. That's why Darby isn't staying in place as Lex Luger. And
wow.
As MJF shouts, he's about to shout in a wheelchair. He gets dropped by Sting and Wardlow Spears attack. And then MJF says he knows Darby is in pain and is watching as he has broken Darby mentally yet because they beat up Sting, obviously. Like a bunch, which is nice. MJF says he wants Darby to understand that no matter how bad the fans want to see Darby return to beat him up, that his future will be the same as Sting and he will always fall short because he's the past, present, and future pro wrestling, which I thought he was going to say, and I'm better than you and you know it, but he chose not to.
He did not end with his catchphrase. This was maybe a bit longer than it needed to be, but I still liked it. MJF is pretty much in a league of his own for heel mic work, right, at this point. He shifts gears in this, even just from mocking to serious to furious, right? The whole in control of all of it the whole time. I think it is helping build the feud with Allin because the crowd is going to go nuts when he does come back, right? The babyface being gone and sort of beaten and having to take time off TV will just make the crowd love it when he comes back. So it's probably smart. Sting got enough time in sort of defending himself. Like he didn't dominate the numbers game got to him, right? As it should. And then
yeah, but I really hate him no-selling stuff.
Only a little bit, though, and then that's what I mean. Like, it was just enough of that, and then they eventually got to him, right?
Yeah, but he's, like, no-selling chair shots.
Only one,
which
though.
I think, yeah, but, like, it's a
Sting.
steel chair.
It's Sting.
He's old.
That's the mystique.
He's old.
But it's still Sting. Old Sting still has the power.
No, he doesn't.
Anyways, I thought it was fine, and Sting, they used him well here.
Yes, because he did not speak. Yeah, so I thought once again they did a smart thing by voting a live and possibly a lengthy Sting promo, and also having MJF speak. Like, that's a pretty good
upgrade.
Right. I think MJF's definitely the savior here because he stopped Sting speaking. Another great promo from him while also preventing the promo from Sting is The Dream. I really don't like him no-selling offense from top guys, especially guys like Wardlow and Sean Spears, who has a freaking chair.
Top guys, Wardlow and Spears?
Or like, I don't know.
It's the funniest thing you've said all day.
Like, we're those big muscle man, and Spears has chairs.
Yes.
Not tall guys.
Spears is a big
powerful
dude, too.
Guy.
Yeah.
Yes. And, like, at least he still got his ass kicked, though.
Yes, we get you don't like Sting. That is the thesis here.
Yes.
Yes.
Next, we get an interview with Brit Baker. Shivani says now we know Conti will face Baker at Full Gear for the women's title. Baker says since Conti stuck her nose in Baker's business, she looked to see what Conti's done, which is just show her ass, which I don't know if that's a reference to a wardrobe malfunction or just
I think it's just her wardrobe in general. Okay. I'm not sure, though. I wasn't quite
sure
either. Yeah, it might be.
It's like the fishnet thing or whatever.
Yeah,
like
maybe.
That a lot of people do. She said she could have worked her way up, and this would have been a hell of a match, but since she laid her hands on what belongs to Baker, Baker will lay her hands on her and retain the title.
Yeah, she's awesome. Brit Baker, every promo is good. This wasn't very long, but this raised a question for me, for you, for anyone, really. Does AEW have the best heels on the mic for men and women right now?
Yes.
Right? So MJF and Brit Baker?
Who else is there?
That's what I said, too. Who's better, right?
Outside of AEW.
I don't know.
Maybe there's someone else in AEW, but, like...
I don't think so.
Even Eddie Kingston's not even heel anymore.
Right. Mox isn't a heel right now, although I think he might be soon enough, but we'll see. So I don't think there's anyone better consistently.
Cole's in AEW.
Yeah,
exactly. Who I would probably put there, even like Omega at times.
At times. I think MJF's the best consistently overall.
I don't
Brit
think anyone,
too, so
right.
That's a feather in their cap, right? So I think she was great here, and she's just doing what she can to build a quick, again, what we call like a placeholder match, right? This isn't a main threat to her title. It's just something to keep her busy.
I'm not entirely sure about that. I mean...
You think Conti's winning?
I'll elaborate on that, but...
Okay.
So I thought this was a solo promo from Baker. I'm not sure who will win this, because I think Conti is good, and probably Baker's most legitimate challenger to date. Because she's really improved, and I think she hasn't been on, like, that hot streak lately, but, like...
No, and I don't think...
But she's pretty good, though. We both like her, right? And... I think really good. She's definitely got potential. But at the same time, it really doesn't feel like Baker's been champion that long. I guess it's been since, like, the spring or whatever, which... I guess that's been like a few months, but it doesn't feel like she's like accomplished a ton yet.
I just feel the build is too casual to be an actual threat. That's
so
my
part of me
point.
thinks they could hold off for Thunder Rosa being Baker, but I could also see Rosa winning the TBS title or feuding like with Cargill for that, and that's her title win. And I would rather Conti be Baker, maybe not now, but down the line, because I feel like Conti's newer and she hasn't really been made yet, whereas Rosa has already like been made a bit in the NWA, right?
Yeah, for sure. She's
maybe
already over.
This is just Conti's kind of like first shot to throw her name kind of in there, and then I think she can beat Baker at a later date.
They need to put some sort of attention storyline behind Conti, but yes, she's improved more than almost. I always say it's her and Gonzalez, right, for maybe the most improved over the last year or two.
So
she's really good
I
now.
think she should beat Baker eventually, but I don't think now is the time. But I think this is just to like maybe show that she can hang there, and then they can circle back around in a few months or something.
And AEW is good at that, right? Like taking their time and getting to stuff. So.
Right, and since they don't have a lot of pay-per-views, I could see Conti maybe winning it at like Double or Nothing, because that's like next spring, right? So that's a while away.
Yep. I want to see Purrazzo come across and have some matches.
Yeah,
that's what I would like.
I mean, and spoiler if you haven't seen Bound for Glory, I guess she is kind of freed out.
That's why I'm kind of thinking that. Great match she had with Mickie James, by the way. But yes, she is a bit more free now from not the title.
Next we get Ruby Soho versus Penelope Ford. Yay!
Yeah.
In the TBS Championship first round match. I thought this was a fine match that had quite a few issues, though.
The crowd was low energy, I noticed, in this one, for sure.
I don't blame them.
There were some issues, yes.
Front handspring corner shoulder block by Ford after some early back and forth. Soul kick and running thrust kick for 2 by Soho. Bunny skips out as Ford and Soho battle in the apron. She distracts Soho so Ford can get a boot. That kind of sends Soho into the post. A Saito suplex by Soho post-commercial break. An iffy-looking knee that didn't really connect, didn't get all of it.
Barely connected with the arm, I thought.
Yeah, thrust kick and an enziguri by Soho. Weird-looking cutter by Ford for 2. Back heel kick and a gut check by Ford for 2. Finish comes when Ford and Bunny try to get the brass knucks in, but the ref kicks them away as Ford scrambles to grab them. Soho rolls her up for the win. And after the match, the heels try to attack, but they get chased off by Red Velvet, who's facing Bunny in another match in the tournament.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
At one point I had a direct quote from Tony Schiavone. I think it was Ruby Riott. Remember she took like a weird route to the corner?
I thought it was JR who said it.
One of them was like, she took a left turn there, right? Because she like thought she was running to the corner, but then was like 4 feet away and had to like make a sharp turn.
It was
to get back.
It reminded me like when Dakota Kai runs like around the ring into the corner, but like that's on purpose.
Right. This was like you missed where the corner was.
She was getting like Irish whip.
Right.
I forgot to note that, but yeah, that was another.
I would call this match sloppy and just okay at best. I didn't think either woman looked very good. They didn't seem to work too well together, and the crowd's lack of reaction seems like they might agree with me. In general, I'm kind of confused by the women's division, right? We won't see like Thunder Rosa or Shida or Serena Deeb for weeks, months at a time.
Or even Nyla Rose, who's pretty good.
But we'll absolutely see Bunny and or Penelope Ford every single week, right? Or like we're
getting both. I know like while you thought Ford was good, but like she's not bad, but the more I get to see her wrestle, the less good I think she is. My impression of her is slowly deteriorating.
She knows some cool moves, but she needs to sort of just get more experience with full matches and things.
I think I'm going to stand by my opinion that Kip Sabian is the better half of this couple.
So I'm not sure exactly what they're doing with this division, and it still seems to be their biggest issue, right? Because this is Bunny and Ford are definitely not skill-wise near the top of that division, and they are what I would consider overexposed at this point, right? We see them constantly.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like that's because I feel like I've seen Ford like wrestle like every week for the past month or so, and she's like there. Remember, I think what was it, against Sheet or something, or there was like a really slow arm. No, it was Conti, I think. There's the really slow arm working or whatever. And, like I don't know. I feel like I found like at least one issue in like.
Yes,
almost all of her matches.
And like, the division, they have a strong champion, and then they
have some other strong supporting wrestlers.
That's the level I think they're ignoring. They're kind of getting the mid card, lower card with Bunny and Ford and whatnot.
I don't mind them keeping that on Rampage because I don't watch, or like this feels like the thing you can put on Dark.
It's the layer underneath the champion, like who your next challengers are, that I feel like they're neglecting a little bit in their TV time.
And then they just shoehorned Conti because she.
And it makes the division feel like it's not getting the attention
they could. Yep. Like, I feel like they need to. I guess maybe we'll get some more showcase on it with the tournament.
Yeah, because again, it's that Thunder Rosa, Deeb, Nyla Rose, like that level of competitor.
Even Cargill to a point.
Maybe. I mean, character-wise, I guess. Maybe
she's at least in, like, she's definitely in that upper echelon of the division, but not quite there in terms of wrestling.
Right, they need to build credible challengers to Brit at this point, it feels like. Yeah,
I mean, some of them are credible without going, but like you at least need to like prime them. Bit. Yes, prime them for a shot.
Exactly.
So yeah, this is okay. It wasn't that great, and there's just too many missteps and just not botches, but just like missteps and just weird.
Yeah, awkwardness, sloppiness, however you want to call it.
Yes, that's the word. The finish just wasn't super pleasing either, and it was a predictable result. At the end of the day, like there was no doubt in my mind who was winning.
I agree.
I guess good for Soho, but the more like I said, the more I see in Ford's matches, the less good I think she is. She's overexposed, and there seems to be some sort of issue in most of her matches.
There's not the cleanest of matches, yes.
Yeah. Next we get Mjf and Sean Spears, and then Wardlow comes in. He says he sent a message to Darby tonight. Wardlow asked what last week was about when he kind of was sacrificed to old man with Bat.
Right.
MJF says he was nervous and freaked out and he did not put Wardlow in danger intentionally. He says Wardlow has a lot of pressure on him and he gets paid the big bucks, so he assigns Wardlow an accountability buddy. Yes, I'm pretty sure that's what he said, which will be Sean Spears. And then he's just like, hey, like kind of like scared, which I thought that was kind of funny.
I was confused by this overall. I do like the subtle story of Wardlow and Miz, right? Because that's something they've been sort of teasing. Miz, sorry.
Wow.
MJ. It actually corrected to Miz in my notes the first time.
That's funny.
Sorry, but there's been like little nuggets of looks and
I thought this was like the real
tipping
like,
point
start, like first nudge, and especially after watching the just because it was on the channel, the Ruthless Aggression Evolution thing. It seems like it could be a rise to stardom a la Batista.
Could be.
Like the slow build to Batista turning on Triple H, that kind of deal.
Yeah.
I don't know if Wardlow will be the world champion yet, but like that kind of
thing, could be,
right?
I don't quite get the accountability buddy, was it? I don't know.
They didn't even try to autocorrect that in Google either.
No. And I'm not sure what he's saying about Wardlow's issue. Like, you have a lot of responsibility.
So
I guess it's
because
now you've got somebody else that I'll sacrifice along with you, and maybe that's...
Or like...
I don't know.
Does Wardlow do a lot of accounting for
Is
him
this forming a new tag team? Like, is this just a way to do that?
Is this a way to get Spears on TV more? Because I would gladly take that.
I guess it's just MJF trying to talk circles around Wardlow, because Wardlow's starting to realize the problem, right? And or get sick of whatever MJF's issues, and so this is maybe MJF just talking
Spears
circles
did a
and
good
then
job
leaving.
of looking surprised too, because he looked kind of like surprised, confused. I thought the promo from MJF was fine, and then I kind of thought Spears was funny at the end.
I thought his delivery was good, but I don't know how much sense this made, but I guess we'll see what happens out of this.
I think Spears should do more.
Yeah, he's good.
I like him. I miss Ty Dillinger, though. Ty Dillinger was the best.
He was cool. He had his moment for sure.
Yes.
And then he went to main roster, and it was less, so...
Yeah, he got to enter at number 10, and then... He did stuff.
He did.
Next, we have Bobbert Fish versus Anthony Green.
Tony Green and Robert Fish?
Yes.
Yep.
Formerly August Gray of NXT
Briefly.
fame, I guess.
Yes, fame. Quote-unquote fame. He was there.
Description, squash. Notables, there's an interesting kind of crossbody thingy by Green for one early on, and then he got nothing else, basically.
Pretty much.
Leg kick and a tope atomico for 2 by Fish. Leg target in the corner by Fish. A sliding lariat. Exploder suplex in the ropes, which is really cool. Then he falls with his roundhouse kick, which is a signature move, I guess.
Yeah, I would think so at this point.
Which I guess he is a kicker boy, but...
Striker?
He kicks boys a lot, so like, why is... I guess... Anthony Green is not exactly a high caliber opponent.
No.
But remember, isn't this kind of funny? Because remember in his like first singles match after the Undisputed Era split, this is exactly how he lost to Tyler Rust.
I don't remember.
Remember,
that.
It was like really weird. And like there's like some weird distraction finish, and then Russ just roundhouse kicked him.
Oh, that's right.
And then he
because we were like, "Where's his cool little whatever?"
Oh, Perfect Circle. That's what it's called.
That's
what
it's
a good name. I hope ROH makes figures so I can get Tyler Rust.
He is using that move in ROH.
Yes, I think that's where I got the name. Anyways, and then post match afterwards, Fish continues the assault. As he sees Green trying to get up, and who makes a save? CM Punk.
Yeah, so that's setting up that match program, whatever.
For Dynamite.
So I think this is my favorite Bobby Fish ever, possibly. It's sort of like what I said about Daniel Bryan, but like heel version, kind of. Really aggressive, really physical. He just keeps coming at you, right? It's not like it's super fast-paced, but he's always just moving forward and attacking you.
Yeah.
And then he doesn't really make any mistakes because he's so strong technically. So I'm really enjoying Bobby Fish. I thought this was another effective AEW squash like Moxley's last week, right?
That one was funny.
And honestly, Bobby Fish deserves a win after really strong work in losing efforts since coming to AEW.
Who did he lose to? He lost to Bryan and someone else.
Yes.
I know what it is too.
And so now he can go on to look great in a loss to CM Punk, I would imagine, but he's playing an important role, and looking really good doing it. So I'm glad he got to pick up a win here.
It was Sammy Guevara.
Right.
No, I feel like there's another one though.
Anyways.
Crap. He did get a win though with Lee Moriarty though. So there's at least that. He's kind of like beating the chumps and then
he's the gatekeeper to like the legitimate
getting chumped by
levels,
the big boys.
But he looks good doing it.
Yeah. I thought this was nothing more than an effective squash. Green got in a short bit of offense until Fish took control. He looked good here, so mission accomplished. The aftermath was solely a set up a Punk Fish match, but that should be pretty good because I think Punk's actually been doing pretty good in his run so far.
Yeah, and Fish looks awesome.
Fish has been great as well, and this will be Punk's first Dynamite match, so that's cool.
He'll win, but that's okay. Should be fun to watch.
He better wear trunks, or I'm gonna be kind of.
You will be mad. We'll hear about it if he wears tights.
If he wears tights, there's going to be something to be said. Next, we get an interview with Leo Rush, LBO Leo, and Dante Martin, not LBO. Rush says that anything he does big. He says he wants to take Dante as big as possible. Is he implying that there's a glass ceiling?
Maybe.
Well, Dante could probably just jump through it. You know,
he
if it's
could.
vertical. And he needs to mentor him and show him the tools. He says he gave Seidel a chance and he failed. And Dante was like, he's one of the best in the world. Okay, sure.
Mm-hmm. One of the best in the world or whatever. Maybe. Not.
Depends on what at what like best at
best
something.
enhancement talent. Check.
Best third eye enthusiast.
Yes.
I don't know. He says he thinks Martin could beat Seidel, and he knows he could beat Seidel. And he says he talked to TK, Tony Khan, and got the match on next week's Rampage. Who is it? Dante asks. Oh, it's the Seidel Bros.
So,
wow.
Can I ask, why is Dante upset about having to face the Seidels? Or
because he's respectful young boy, and he's been teaming with the Seidel.
I guess he teamed with them, right?
Yeah, but I don't know why, because I don't think Mike Seidel's injured or anything. But
anyways, I thought Leo was fine here, and it seems like he's doing the whole like. Seems like he's doing what's best for this guy, but obviously is really in it for himself, and that'll be part of where we get to. And
which
whether
I don't love, because we already have Big Money Matt. I hope the direction this goes is that we get rid of Big Money Matt.
That's exactly in my notes, right? And from what hearing Dante speak here, he definitely needs a mouthpiece. His acting and talking weren't good here, I didn't think. And again, I want to like this because I like Leo Rush a lot, but it's moving really slowly, right? We're not getting very far, and it does feel a lot like Big Money Matt with like Private Party or TH2,
I wish
right?
you could you disband the HFO, then you free Private Party to be Private Party again. TH2 can rise to tag team stardom, and Matt Hardy can have a breakdown.
I feel like you alluded to something that might happen where maybe Dante has some success with Leo along the way, and then his brother returns, right? And there's that pull between Leo Rush and what's his name? Darius, right? And maybe there's a story in there, although I'm not sure the Martins are ready to pull off much acting at this point. But anyways, we'll see where it goes. I just want to see Leo Rush wrestle, if I'm being honest, which I haven't yet. So
yeah, he was in the Casino Battle Royal.
Well, whatever. Yeah, maybe on the internet somewhere. I don't know. Doesn't count.
Sorry. If you're watching MLW early, I think you would see him as he was middleweight champ a while ago.
I've seen him lately. Yeah. I watched him lose that title to the other guy. I forget who. Doesn't matter.
Byron Reed.
Yes, that's right.
Solid segment. I thought they teased Dante's frustrations well.
Yep.
Like he looked unhappy.
He's like the naive kid that's not quite understanding what Leo's doing, but is a little suspicious. But if he has success, maybe he can sort of allow it, because if Leo's getting him high profile matches and he's winning and getting more money, then he can, he's like
Sam Beal, but
seems
smart.
like that a little bit. Yeah.
Next we get Lance Archer versus Edward Kingston, and in the first round of the AEW World Title Eliminator Tournament. What would be is Lance short for anything, or is there a short form
Lancelot?
For Lance? Yes, Lancelot Archer versus Edward Kingston. That's what. Yes,
that's for sure.
That is perfect. In what was a fine match until the understandably abrupt finish.
Yeah.
As Archer's making his entrance, Kingston attacks from behind. Archer slams a quote-unquote fan onto Kingston.
Yes.
He chokeslams the fan from the apron onto Kingston. A running corner back elbow by Archer. Corner overhand chop by Archer, and Kingston retaliates with a thumb to the eye. Eddie avoids the blackout by trying to get a dragon sleeper of sorts. Basement dropkick by Archer knocks Kingston off the apron. Interesting kind of like weird splash thing from the corner by Archer. Archer chokes Kingston in the corner while staring at the camera. Archer misses a moonsault but kind of under rotates and definitely hits his head.
It's very scary, yep.
Yeah, and then Kingston wins the Mahi Stroll cradle after Archer had rolled back in the ring because he was being checked on by the Doc Samson.
And he was told, just get in, go right to the finish, because I'm sure they were doing a quick concussion check or whatever, and they weren't confident. Apparently, Archer wanted to finish the match, obviously, but they said, no, you're going back in, just get rolled up and get it over with. So, obviously, it was cut short. To be honest, I wasn't super into it up to that point either. It was slow and pretty basic, but I imagine that's because that's Archer, and then it was going to build to Kingston getting his turn, right, to go on a flurry, but we just never got there, right? It was just Archer. And it honestly didn't look as bad in slow motion. It still looked bad, but it looked like his arms took at least some of the pressure off and hit before his head did, or else it would have been much worse. At least it
wasn't Brock Lesnar bad.
Right. But as it was, this match wasn't very good, right? Because it got cut in half with a roll-up, and I hope Archer apparently is okay, is what I saw today. So, but, I mean, just looking at what it wasn't great, I didn't think.
So I thought the match was fine until the finish, which wasn't great, but it's understandable. Archer definitely hit his head, and they made the right call here.
Yes.
Kingston versus Danielson, though. sounds quite interesting.
Very interesting, yes.
Which will be on Rampage next week, so I will watch Rampage, or at least that match.
And we were wondering if this was the expected outcome in terms of the winner, but then they did have the graphic immediately
I could see
ready.
Kingston winning.
So it seems like maybe it was, but I guess it wouldn't take them long to change the graphic either. Who knows if this was the original plan?
Right, or if they're really smart, they queue up both graphics like they have.
But I guess they also could have said, hey, go back in the ring and roll up Kingston if they wanted Archer to go on. But
That's
then
true.
I guess maybe then on the
but
flip
if he
side,
had a concussion,
right? The flip side of that is
so,
this coin has many sides.
Right. I would like to think that Kingston was
scheduled
like,
to win.
I could see him winning.
I mean, not that wrestling's predetermined.
I mean,
it's all real.
Right.
Obviously,
So
it's
they
real to me. Damn it! Have you ever seen that guy?
Right. They always have both graphics ready in case someone just decides to win.
Well, it's like when the team that wins the Super Bowl, there's always a whole bunch of T-shirts that had already been made for the other team. And they generally ship them out for charity or whatever to places. So whoever lost the Super Bowl, somewhere people are wearing like shirts that say they won the Super Bowl because they have them ready, and hats and all that stuff, right? For some team that doesn't win. But anyways,
that'd be so funny. You're just wearing like freaking like New Orleans 2020,
right. And they didn't win that year. Ironic
That'd be really
football
funny.
shirts. You'd like that, yeah.
Like, or if like you're an actual fan of the team and you decide to, and you just see the shirt and then you just cry while you're driving home.
Right.
That'd be really funny.
Nice.
Next we get Dan Lambert and Men of the Year.
Yay?
Yay!
Question
Well,
mark?
actually, Lambert doesn't speak a ton, so.
No, that's true. Well, he does though, kind of.
But
Still?
mostly does not.
Right, I guess.
Ethan
a lot of people
Page gets
speak.
to speak most, so that's good.
Yeah.
Page responds to "You Suck" chants by saying the Inner Circle sucks, and he kind of almost gets heated there. He says he's never seen Hager's MMA record, but he's seen Scorpio Sky pin Hager. He says Santana Ortiz aren't hard, and Men of the Year treat them like a runway when they walk down the street. And he says he says it's good Jericho's in here, which is good because he gets mic time, which
that was a good point. Yep.
He says Jericho can do whatever he wants, and even though he lost, he got mic time to flirt with Paige Van Zandt, which I agree that was weird.
And it's like what we've been saying. Ethan Page is a great talker, and they're just finding ways to not have him talk. It's weird.
I think this whole American Top Team thing is a huge waste of time for a team who could be like gunning for the tag titles right now. Like, as much as I love FTR, they've already been champs, so that could have been Men in the Year spot.
And I thought about it too. And so the story is that Top Team are including these guys because they have martial arts and whatever MMA background, but guess what percentage of a wrestling roster has some sort of like martial arts or mixed martial arts background?
Right, like
almost
if
all
you have
of them?
to do this, choose someone else, I guess.
Or
like,
don't choose anyone.
Why aren't they trying to recruit Hager?
Again, you're basically coming in with the storyline of what we do is real and what you do is fake, but we're going to pick these two guys that do the fake stuff and bring them with us.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't like it
Yeah,
at all.
it's confusing. But like, if why aren't they gunning for Hager? Why don't they want Hager, he's supposedly this undefeated MMA beast, right?
Or Bobby Fish or Punk or Danielson.
Right. Yeah.
Anyways,
any
of them.
I can't think of anyone
all
else,
of them,
but
probably.
Yes, they just want all of them. No, only the top ones.
I guess.
So they can't include Hager. Roasted. He says he wants Jericho to take a good look at the future of AEW. Speaking of the future of AEW, Sammy Guevara comes out and says enough. He tells Paige to shut the hell up. He says life is unfair sometimes, but unlike Paige, he worked his ass off and Paige chooses to whine about it. He says nobody cares about Paige other than him, making a joke at the All Ego name.
Yes.
That's not nice, because I care, okay? I care.
We do.
He says he wants to hear Lambert's stipulations, which of course is Lambert's cue to speak.
Yes, and say not much in a lot of words, as he tends to do at this point for some reason.
He said a lot without saying anything at all.
That's right.
Lambert says his terms are that Guevara puts the TNT title up against Paige, and if Guevara wins, he gets a 10-man tag, but if he loses the title and leaves the Inner Circle forever, which, if that's not telegraphing a match result, I don't know what is.
I wonder what's going to happen.
And Guevara says he has a deal, but he wants to choose Men of the Year's American Top Team partners for Full Gear. Yes, this multi-man tag is at Full Gear now. Men of the Year try to attack Guevara, but get chased off by the rest of the Inner Circle, minus Christopher Jericho.
Yeah.
What did you think of this?
This took a long time to set up a match I'm not really going to care about. I don't mind the North American Championship match, but I think we all assume we know how that's going, so we're getting
Did you just say North American Championship?
Whatever it is.
Wow.
We're getting a 10-man tag match that I don't want to see down the line, right? So I know Guevara just won the title, and I like him a lot, but
I like Paige better, and I also don't want this match to happen. So now I'm really rooting for Paige.
For Paige.
Even though he will not win at all, I am super rooting for him.
I wouldn't mind a Paige win. I'm not sure Paige, Sammy, and Lambert all needed to speak here for so long.
I would say just Paige.
I guess it wasn't bad. Yeah, Paige's part was probably my favorite, and I'm happy that he got to speak finally.
I think Sky should have gotten to speak instead of Lambert.
And another plus is the MMA folks weren't there, so I don't know. But I didn't love this overall. It's leading to something I don't want, so that's my problem, I guess.
Yes. I thought it was good promos from Paige, and I thought Guevara's was fine. Lambert was fine. Paige vs. Guevara should be a great match, but they really telegraphed the match result hard with the inner circle stipulation, because, yeah, Guevara's going to leave the faction and lose his title, okay.
That was like when Josh Alexander's wife and kid were at ringside for the championship match. Like, Like, I already had a feeling Alexander was winning, but at that moment I was like,
right.
They've never, ever, ever been there before.
Ever.
But in his first shot at the championship, they're there, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
I also don't love that this match will take up time at Full Gear, but what are you gonna do?
Right.
They've booked it.
Maybe they'll surprise us. Who knows? Maybe it'll be great.
Each pay-per-view, they've got to have one match that I don't want.
Yeah, probably.
People I don't like. This one has the multi-man tag. Last time we got Paul White. The time before that, we had Sting. The time before that, we also had Sting.
And not to be that guy, but we talk about this roster being like borderline bloated, and now you're taking a match with how many people that are like part-time or not really wrestlers, right? That's
not even on the roster.
Right.
No one from American Top Team is actually from AEW.
So at least in theory, 3 people that are not wrestlers are going to get a shot on a pay-per-view.
And then got like Jericho doesn't need to be there. Hager doesn't need to be there. I would love Guevara and Proud and Powerful versus Men of the Year and someone not MMA.
Right.
That I can't think of.
Just keeping some people off the card that I think probably should get on it.
Right,
ahead of these guys anyways.
Yes. And if you're going to choose an old person to put on the show, pick Dustin Rhodes.
Right.
Next we have a promo from Jonathan Moxley. He says he's supposed to be yelling about how he'll run through the tournament, and that will happen. He'll run through the tournament, or he will yell. Which one?
What?
Because he said he'll run through the tournament, and that'll happen. Like, he's supposed to be yelling. So is he going to yell, or is he going to run through the tournament?
Why can't he do both?
I guess he's just gonna start running.
Run through yelling.
He's just gonna start running and yelling.
Not possible?
Yeah.
Can't do that at the same time? I believe
but
he can.
Says he's thinking about his daughter.
Yes.
I wonder, what's his daughter's name?
I don't know.
I know the Rhodes daughter's name because it's so stupid. It's Liberty.
Right.
Because
that's the baby that ended racism. How dare you?
Exactly. Yeah, the baby that ended racism.
Sorry, that's a reference to a Cody promo. We're not being. Anyways.
Yeah, what was it? It was something in the Go-Go feud, I want to say.
Yeah, and I mean, we're loosely interpreting it, but that's we're just putting Cody's ego behind the words he says and kind of making that conclusion for ourselves.
What happened to a Go-Go, man?
He's gone.
I mean, I'm not complaining.
Yeah, you can't beat Cody or you disappear.
I guess is Malakai Black gonna be gone?
Probably.
He talks about something with his daughter, like she squeezes pinky or something.
His
whatever.
jacked up pinky finger.
Okay. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
And it made him realize he doesn't care about anything other than getting on stage with his daughter, and people may have to get hurt for that to happen. He could just not wrestle, but I mean, hey, sure.
No.
He says everyone goes through the dark alley, and only one man comes out. Oh, also, I just remembered, it's gonna be kind of hard for him to get home safe when he's the GCW champion, but I mean,
he is still right. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. He says to everyone in the tournament, he'll get everyone else before he gets got. That's funny, and he'll win the entire thing. Thoughts?
So I really like this, and I'll tell you why. Because
me too.
The normal thought is that he's a new dad, so it's going to be kinder, gentler, right? Because now he has a baby, but he's actually going the other way and saying, because all I care about is getting home to my kid, I'm going to be more violent and aggressive because there's a less likelihood he'll take damage, right? Because now he's about, like, instead of risking his body, preserving his body and his health so that he
kicking everyone else.
Right,
ass.
So he's just going to double time it on everybody else so that he takes less damage. So I think that's a super cool way to spin things
it's very
around.
Moxley, right? But
very
I mean,
much.
I like it.
I think it's just clever, right? So he's basically using the love of his child to justify being a more violent person. And that's just super cool to me because it's not what you would expect. So I really like where he's... And I even think we saw a tease of that in the squash last week, right? Because he came out like super aggressive and angry.
Yuta didn't get anything.
So it kind of makes sense with this promo. So I really like this.
Yeah, I actually thought it was great too. A change of pace, but it's still good, which further shows his promo talents. I like. I agree with you. That's kind of like his new lease on life father kind of deal, but moxified, I guess.
Right, like it's his take on being a new dad is I'm gonna hurt people worse so they can't hurt me.
Right. Yes, and now I would say week 3 of what I hope to be my weekly dose of Hangman, as we get a quick little segment with Hangman the Dark Order. Hangman apologized for not catching up with them. I realized we haven't seen them interact since he's been gone, so I didn't even think of that. I mean, he apologized for not catching up with them, and he apologized for what happened in his absence. He says they were right and they won't always get along, and he says they're getting close to Halloween. He thinks the Elite will have a costume, and the Dark Order won't be outdone or undone or whatever.
Yeah.
And he slowly backs away as they're just kind of like arguing about like a costume or whatever. Like not arguing, but just like.
And John Silver's first choice is Bambi. I'll be Bambi, which I thought was hilarious. Like of all the possible things he could be.
Yeah.
The other thing I thought was funny about this is when Paige said you were right. Did you notice? I don't know if you were taking notes, but like the factions that had kind of splintered off were agreeing with each other. Like we were right. You know what I mean? The couple differing groups within the group from before, but then they realized and collectively went, oh no, we were all right, sort of thing. So I thought this was fine. I don't think it was the best Dark Order segment, but it was kind of necessary because, like you said, Paige hasn't really interacted with them. So it seemed like they were just trying to set out that they're on the same page still, and that the Dark Order are coming with
the same page.
No pun intended. And that the Dark Order's coming with costumes next week, right? That seemed to be what it was setting up. So I don't know. It was fine. It wasn't my favorite.
Yeah,
Dark
I thought it was
Order
a fun little segment. I'm just happy to get some Hangman on the show and have this union back together. Hopefully Hangman is on Dynamite next week too, because I think sooner or later we need Hangman to actually interact with the Elite.
Yeah, he probably will.
They should probably do that next week. I really want to see that, like a lot.
Well, I'm assuming AEW executives listen to this show, so there you go.
Exactly. Yes,
Why
I really want it.
Why wouldn't they? There's no wrestling podcasts out there to listen to, right? There's hardly any.
Next we get the hour-long Ironman match between Jungle Boy and Brandon Cutler.
Right.
Yes. Just kidding. Of course, this is a squash. How many notables do I have? 3. I have more notes on the aftermath than the match.
That makes sense in this case.
Yeah, it does. Jungle Boy clotheslines Cutler out of the ring, hits a suicide dive. Jungle Boy easily counters an attempted Panama Sunrise from Cutler. Slabs a knee and a powerbomb by Jungle Boy, and then he rolls Cutler through on that, locks in the snare trap. Cutler submits. Post-match, Jungle Boy says that was a nice warm-up, and he still feels pretty good. So he calls out any member of the Elite to no avail. He applies the snare trap to Cutler again as he screams for help. Cole comes out, and he says some other stuff which I didn't quite get, and then he says, why don't they fight now? The Young Bucks, though, come from behind and deliver a double super kick. They drag Jungle Boy up the ramp. He takes a BTE trigger in the last shot, and they further taunt him and then throw him off the stage.
Yeah, it was a real... Jungle Boy launched himself, but it looked pretty good. Like he had to go far out in the distance, right? Through these, and it looked like it was actually tables under there and not cardboard boxes, as it sometimes is, like when Jericho went off the roof of the cage or whatever it was. So yeah, it was a squash match as expected. Cutler's really funny, right? He's found his role as a comedy sidekick and like jobber when they need him to be, kind of thing. And I like the aftermath because Jungle Boy at the end of the day is still like the naive kid, right? And the Elite are experienced, and they will always take advantage of that and prey on whatever problems they can find. So basically, I think the story is Jungle Boy needs to evolve, get smarter, and maybe even develop some sort of edge, right, to survive in this feud with these guys, because they're just more experienced and savvy and willing to do things he's not willing to do. And I thought the final spot looked really good. I don't think I told you I saw that basically Tony Khan, apparently, for Cole not to be suspended for throwing him off, had to take pictures with fans after the show. So there was like, I saw these pictures of Cole with fans, but he doesn't look happy about it, right? So the fans are like in the foreground all happy, and Cole's just kind of like behind them. So like he's fulfilling the punishment he had to do. So I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, this was a good little spot at the end.
Yeah, short squash, but I thought Color was kind of amusing in what he did in the match.
He is.
I like the aftermath as, it was like an attack thingy, but I thought it was done differently. It was done well, and Jungle Boy took a nice beating.
And it's like, you're calling them out by yourself. What do you think's going to happen? And when are you going to figure this out, kid, right? Like, they're just going to keep taking advantage of you until you get smarter and do something different.
If we don't get Cole versus Jungle Boy at Full Gear and we get that multi-man tag, then I quit.
Nice. Yeah, that would be one I would put on there instead, for sure.
Right. If we're going to get this big, stupid multi-man tag match that I don't need, I don't think anyone actually needs that, then we better get Cole versus Jungle Boy 2, and then eventually maybe at Winter's coming, if they do that again, Cole versus Jungle Boy 3 in a, I don't know what kind of match you could do, but something. Next we get a promo from Miro, God's Forsaken Champion.
Mm-hmm.
He says his wife needs her champion back, and he says how dares God taunt him and test him and forsake him. He says God's Forsaken Champion will become his favorite again because Miro will leave him no choice, which I think everyone else should watch out. Then maybe, perhaps Kenneth Omega. Perhaps
he's challenging his own god, which is pretty interesting, basically, yes. Right? Like,
maybe they're gonna do like that. Remember the tag match from 2006 when McMahon's faced
God,
Shawn Michaels, right, and God.
So this is like a twisted redemption arc from like a heel perspective kind of thing. So I think it's really interesting, and he's like mastered these promos. I pretty much love every one every week.
It's really, yeah, and I feel like him and Malakai Black have their own styles, which yes. I think are really cool.
And I think now basically they need to feed him a bunch of people to just destroy, right? Before he either builds back up to Sammy, or like I was saying, maybe he moves into main title conversation, right? But this,
I almost don't want him to go. See, the weird thing is I feel like if he goes after title, losing hurts him.
It would.
I see no...
They could maybe find a way. I don't know,
I see no picture where he wins a title right now. I think
Guevara not right now.
Just won the title. I mean, even if they build him, like, I think Hangman deserves a decent run.
He does.
I think Guevara should lose to Ethan Page next week.
I doubt that'll happen.
But I don't know. I think they need another mid-card title. I think their roster's too big to not afford
just trios. Just
another
trios.
One, and then especially because the TNT title will become half obsolete.
So Miro and Men of the Year for trios.
Because
you'll get them out of the
because Dynamite's gonna be on TBS, so the TNT title will either have to become a TBS title, which it can't now.
No.
So it'll have to become Rampage exclusive, and then either way we swing it, we need another mid-card title.
No.
Yes.
Too many titles.
Intercontinental title.
No.
Yes.
And then US, and then European, and then Cruiserweight. Like, that's what I don't want.
No.
That's what it gets to. You just keep adding one and adding one.
The US is only as a country title, so that's dumb. But yeah, I thought this was another cool promo from Miro. I liked it.
Me too. He's awesome.
Next we get Malakai Black versus Cody Rhodes.
In the main event.
3.
Yep, third one. Malakai won the first 2.
Yes, so
correct.
Figure that out, people.
Right.
Or you could call this Black versus Rhodes I.
One of the pops of the night was for the kid that caught Cody's weight belt, right? He flung it into the crowd. Funny. Some kid like 8 rows back grabbed it, and the dad or whatever held him up, and the crowd loved it.
Yes.
That was funny.
And another big cheer was also in Black made his entrance, because screw Cody.
Boy, was the crowd not on board with the heel face dynamic that they were presented with, right?
I don't think they have been since like at least the second match.
No, it was like WWE in Canada. It's Bizarro World up here. They cheer for the heels and boo the faces.
Well, because Malakai Black is good and Cody Rhodes
Cody's
is
a heel,
Cody.
and we all know it.
Yes, we all know it.
Yep.
A competitive and I wrote a competitive main event.
Yeah, it was double competitive. Competitive on both sides.
But yeah, so it was a competitive main event with the wrong result.
Maybe.
I think Black should have stayed undefeated and just kicked Cody's ass again.
Well, now you spoiled it. Now you ruined it. They know.
Well, if I said the right result, then Black would have won.
Anyone listening knows what you mean.
Yes.
Yeah.
Aggressive holds and counters as heavy Cody sucks chants ring out.
That was true.
The
crowd was like, no, not having this. We'll decide who's the babyface.
Right. Knee bar by Black after some kicks. Cody escapes, although I don't really want Black to be the babyface because I actually like him as a heel. I haven't seen it.
He's kind of an anti-hero. You could walk that line with him too, for sure.
Yeah, or like I would at least. I don't want him to actually become an anti-hero. I want him just maybe to be that heel that everyone likes.
Yeah,
because like
cool heel.
I feel like if he tries to like lighten it up even a bit to be an anti-hero, I feel like that kind of.
Yeah, you can do the cool heel.
Really work. Yeah, that's what I would prefer. A nice scoop slam for a 1 count by Cody. Black grabs a steel chair after escaping hold by Cody. Battle in the apron ends in a crossroads through a table by Cody. Black's head does kind of go through the table, but Cody takes the majority of the bump, which not great.
And then my main critique of this match is how much time passes after they both go through the table. Like there's nothing happening for.
Yes.
Well, they both take a couple seconds to blade themselves in that time, right?
Well, Black's is not subtle at all.
But there was way too much time where nothing happens after that spot.
This reminds me, I remember when I was watching the Bullet Club recount on New Japan's YouTube. In the Cody Ibushi match, he hit this crossroads to Ibushi off of the apron, not through a table, but just to the ground, and it looked Ibushi took it really well. It looked really cool. So this was not as cool.
Like this looked like Cody was probably trying to protect Black, which is nice, but it ended up looking like Cody kind of did more to himself than Black almost, right?
Right. Andrade walks down the ramp almost to like kind of reaffirm this alliance between him and Black, looking to help. Jose, his assistant, tries to attack Arn, who is in the ring for some reason. But Arn hits a spine buster on him before getting misted by Black. But Pat comes down and chases off Andrade and attacks him.
Yes, more of them. That's fine by me.
Right, and I guess that is a trilogy that necessitates.
Resuscitates.
Yes, necessitates a third match
on a pay-per-view for about 25 minutes. Let's go.
Okay, yeah. If we get a multi-man tag and we don't get Pac Andrade 3, I quit.
Even though Pac Andrade 2 underwhelmed both of us. Well, not like
maybe in a pay-per-view format works better.
It was overhyped. It was overhyped, yes. But it was good still.
Ripcord elbow and a springboard moonsault by Black. Cody gets up like way too quick. And hits a crossroads for 2, and the crowd cheered the kick out a lot.
Yes, they did. Yep.
It was really funny. Top rope double foot stomp, a pump knee, and a high bridge German suplex. Really nice sequence.
Love that
By
sequence.
Black for a near fall. Black mask, but Cody falls on the bottom rope. He was up like a little too quick for my taste.
But even that was well done. Like the spacing of him falling through the ropes.
He did fall, but then like I feel like as soon as he was gotten up, he was like on the move again.
Right.
And all of a sudden he's hitting a Cody cutter. Then he hit a crossroads and a Tiger Driver by Cody for the win.
Yeah. I thought this match got awesome after the table spot and the long delay. I don't think the blood added anything. I'm not a big blood guy, but I know lately when it's been happening sort of hard way, I've kind of thought it added some stuff to the match. I didn't think it really made much difference here. Black's offense looked fantastic, especially, again, that sequence you had with the ending with the high bridging German. Cody held his own here, too. I figured Cody would get the win here because they're not going to have Cody lose to the same guy 3 times. Or let me rephrase, Cody's not going to have Cody lose 3 times to the same guy. But at least it took multiple finishers and like a super finisher, right, to take out Black here. So I thought this was a really good main event. The beginning of it, I was just kind of like, whatever, this is solid. And then I feel like it kind of kicked into another gear once there was the table spot and the other people involved. So I really liked the second half of it and thought it was a good main event overall.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good match. But my least favorite of the 3 they've had, not just because Cody won.
But partly.
Partially, yes. I think the first one was my favorite because it was the funniest, but I think the second one as a match was the best, I think. I think Black should have beaten Cody again and stayed undefeated because I think just that kind of helped his aura a bit. And the loss would finally send Cody in the heel frenzy he needs to be in. He could have even joined the Elite, finally.
Him and Macklin could have used the Forbidden Door to have an undefeated match. Because Macklin is thick, people. If you don't watch Impact Wrestling and you don't listen to me talk about it that often, Macklin is awesome.
Uh-huh.
He is.
Yes.
He's awesome. Sorry.
But it was not to be. Cody can't go in a feud winless, I guess.
Yeah, no, he cannot. That's what we're saying. He would not let himself. No. He's in charge, so.
Although I can't remember, I don't think he ever beat MJF.
Maybe not.
No, he probably did. It's Cody.
Yeah.
Thoughts on the show?
I thought this was a good show, but there were more things than usual I thought that I didn't like, and in-ring wise, I don't think it was up to snuff. So, yet again, the opener was my match of the night, easily. and the main event was really good. But in between, right, if you look at what we got, it was Fish and Jungle Boy squash matches. Archer Kingston was cut short, and the women's match wasn't very good. So to me, that's like 4 matches not really of consequence. So that's, I would say, easily below an average Dynamite, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
If you look at it that way. Segment-wise, Baker, MJF, Miro, Omega, Mox were their usual excellent selves. America's Top Team and Sammy went on for too long, I thought. Leo was fine, and the Page and the Dark Order stuff was good, but not as good as some of their things. So I've kind of loved the past few weeks of Dynamite. I even think it was an A for me last week. So this episode fell short of that. I'm giving it a B, almost a B+, but I'm going to stick with the B because of those kind of 4 matches in the middle of no consequence. There was some really good stuff. The opener I thought was awesome and worth checking out, but there was some stuff that was easily missable as well. So a good show, but not great. B from me. So Canadian B, we need to clarify sometimes. So a Canadian B is like a 7.5 out of 10, just for anyone. We have a lot of American listeners, so I mean, a lot for us. I don't want to try and sound like we're Joe Rogan or something, but a large chunk is from the United States of America. Yes. So a B up here is like a 7.5 out of 10.
All right. So I thought the show started pretty great with the opener being another great effort from Rhodes, and I thought Bryan was great in there as well. Omega's little promo was good. I loved the FTR Lucha Bros segment just because I think those segments are a really cool style.
That was good, yeah.
And FTR are pretty good promo-wise. MJF had another customarily good promo. Baker's is good as well. Soho vs. Ford was the first real misstep on the show for me. Short Pinnacle segment was good. Fish looked good against Green, finally got a win, so like an effective squash. The Rush Martin segment was solid. Archer Kingston was another misstep, but not really their fault. The Men in the Year segment was fine. I thought Mox delivered a great promo. Hangman Dark Horse segment was pretty good. Good to see Hangman again. Jungle Boy vs. Color was what you'd expect, but I liked the aftermath actually.
Me too.
Miro's promo was good, and the main event was pretty good, but an unsatisfying result. Overall, a solid show, but nothing amazing. So I wasn't as down on it, so I'll give it a B+.
B+, so Canadian B+ is like 7.8, 7.9 out of
Just call
10.
it an 8.
Right? That would be an A-.
What?
So trust me, I know the grading.
Like instead of out of 100, because 79 would be, because 80.
Not in the A range. So in Canada, A is from 80 to 100, right?
But we're doing it at 10, so you...
See what I mean? See what I did there?
I see it now, yes.
Right, but then it's weird because A, you have a lot more room to go. You have 20% in the A range and only 10 in the others. Might be the flaw in the Canadian system, but yeah. That's what we're working
We don't
under.
talk about that much.
But anyways, we did. That's no one's listening at the last second once we've given our letter grades. I assume they're gone. We could say whatever we wanted here.
But that is going to be all for today.
That is.
Like we said, Impact Bound for Glory review has just been put out. Ring of Honor will be on the way. If you're not listening to either of those, next time we see you will be next Saturday for episode 67. If you want to contact him, that will be our email, which is fnswrestling@gmail.com.
That's right.
You can also leave a comment on YouTube. He claims he'll get back to you.
I always do. Literally everyone that's commented gets a reply from me.
Yeah, and if you want to talk to me, which I highly doubt it, but it's possible, FNS_wrestling_podcast on Instagram. As long as I remember, I try to post whenever there's something new out, so
right.
Even if you're not listening, you'll, or I don't know how that would work, but you'll be able to see when something is out. But regardless, we will at least see you next week. And until then, bye.
Take care.